Brilliance Audio presents the unabridged recording of White Tiger on Snow Mountain, Stories by David Gordon, performed by David Vries. Man Boob Summer. I was spending some time at my parents' place that summer. I was 38 and out of ideas. I had finished my midlife crisis graduate degree a bit early, and after turning in my thesis, I promptly fell into the utter despair that comes from completing a long, difficult, and entirely pointless project. I was deeply, profoundly in debt, ruined really, and had no idea what I would do next. Also, I'd just been kicked out of the apartment in Soho where I'd been living for several years when my landlady, a 95-year-old artist, finally died. That crumbling little building was like the last ragged fort of old Bohemia, sandwiched between Louis Vuitton and Victoria's Secret. For decades, my landlady had clung on through Alzheimer's and pneumonia and broken hips, while her relatives and accountant bided their time. When at last she went, only the South American woman who looked after her cried, and a month later, the building sold for $12 million. My books and winter clothes went into storage with the dining room set I'd won in my divorce settlement, and I moved across the bridge to New Jersey. Immediately, I established a new regimen. I rose at 8 so that my parents wouldn't think I was a bum, and sat at my little desk, really a folding snack table in the guest room, doing the crossword puzzle until they left for work, when I sometimes took a quick nap. They never reproached me, but I wallowed in my failure and liked to imagine the looks on their faces if I got a job in their building buffing the floors. Then I went running, then lunch, then down to the pool. The apartment complex, I wish there was a more graceful term for these minor high-rise city-states, actually had a very nice pool. Small but almost empty on the weekdays, and set on the edge of the cliffs overlooking the Hudson and Manhattan Island. On a clear day, you could see the individual cars traveling across the bridge and up and down the city's west side like corpuscles in an IV drip. On a stormy day, you could see the weather before it arrived. That summer, I swam, snoozed, and got my first tan ever. I tried to read, but my heart had turned against literature, which I blamed for much of my misfortune. Had I looked at Tolstoy or Stendhal, I think I would have hurled myself off the cliffs. On the other hand, I was afraid that opening a new book by a promising young writer might trigger a...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?